You ever step off a plane boot still dusted with sand from the other side of the world, just aching for home, only to find out home isn't even yours anymore? Yeah, that happened to me. 11 months serving in Kuwait. All I could picture was the road back to my dad's old ranch outside Weatherford. The porch swing creaking in the wind, the oak tree where I used to climb as a boy, the smell of hay still lingering in the barn. But I'll tell you what, when I rolled up the driveway, my whole world tilted sideways. There's a minivan parked right where my Chevy always sat, little kids' bikes tossed against the fence, and behind the window curtains I'd never seen toys scattered across my living room floor. For a second I thought maybe I'd lost my mind, wrong house maybe, but every inch of that land was tattooed into my memory. This was my family's place. 3 generations worked it, fought for, it bled into that dirt. Now there were strangers living in my home. I stepped out, boots crunching gravel, duffel still on my shoulder, uniform still creased from the flight. The door swings open and a woman standing there, toddler on her hip, looking at me like she's seen a ghost. "Can I help you?" she says. "This is my house. Who are you?" She grips that kid a little tighter, glancing over her shoulder. "I think you're mistaken. We bought this house 6 months ago from the HOA." Let me tell you, those 3 letters, HOA, never sounded so much like a gut punch. I paid every bill before I left, taxes cleared, mortgage up to date, set up everything so nothing could go sideways while I was overseas. And yet, here I was staring at a stranger cradling a child in my living room. "I'm not mistaken," I said, voice clipped. "My name's Quentin Ralston. This ranch has been in my family since before Weatherford had a Walmart. I didn't sell it, and I sure as hell didn't ask anyone else to." She shrugs, uncomfortable. "Look, we have the paperwork. Paid for it fair and square. If you've got a problem, take it up with the HOA." That's when the fire started in my chest. I've stared down armed men in villages I can't pronounce, but nothing prepares you for coming home to find your world stolen by a signature. I got in my truck, hands shaking, mind racing. Sylvia Brenner, the HOA president. She was infamous for her by-the-book attitude, endless fines, that clipped voice that made you feel like you'd left mud on her precious carpet. My dad used to say she ran the neighborhood like her own little kingdom. Now it looked like she'd crowned herself queen of my land. Pulled into the gas station on the edge of town, stared at the steering wheel. I called my oldest friend, Luis Navarro, a sheriff's deputy, tough as old leather heart to match. "Ralston, you back?" "Yeah, Lou, but I don't have a house anymore." Silence, then a slow, angry drawl. "What do you mean?" "The HOA sold my place out from under me. There's a family living in it now." Louise whistled. "Don't go confronting anyone you hear. Come to the station. Bring whatever paperwork you got. This sounds bigger than it looks. If Brenner did this once, she's done it before." I laughed, dry, bitter. "Handcuffs on my first day back." He just grunted. "I'd rather see you angry at my desk than spending your first night home in county lockup." So I drove mind churning. They hadn't counted on me coming back to fight. But I didn't know then my ranch was just the tip of the iceberg. Sylvia and her board had been running a con bigger than anyone imagined. Next morning, I showed up at the HOA office. Still in uniform, partly out of pride, partly so Sylvia could see who she was dealing with. The lobby smelled of stale coffee and old carpet. "I need to see Sylvia," I told the receptionist. "She's in a meeting." "Then tell her Staff Sergeant Quentin Ralston is here about the ranch she sold out from under me." That got her attention. Sylvia appeared a minute later, every inch the Ice Queen, silver hair, sharp suit eyes, cold as marble. "I wondered when you'd be back," she said. "You sold my ranch," I snapped. "The HOA sold it," she corrected, lips barely moving. "You failed to address repeated violations. Delinquent dues. You abandoned the property, Sergeant. The board had no choice." "I didn't abandon anything. I was deployed. Federal law protects service members from this exact scam, and I paid every cent before I left." Her smile never broke. "That's not what our records show." "You forged something then," I said. She raised a manicured hand. "I suggest you calm yourself. Raising your voice won't change facts. Take it up with your lawyers." I turned and left, heat crawling up my neck. She was too confident. That's when I realized she'd done this before. Met up with Luis later that day. He poured us coffee, hands steady. County records show a transfer HOA board signed off filed like it's all legit, but your signature's missing. They pushed it as a lien foreclosure. A lion on what? Unpaid dues, so they claim. But the numbers are off, way off. I checked, your payments are all there. So they stole it. Luis nodded. If they did it to you, you're not the first. People complain but settle or walk away. Not this time, I was burning. Go through the Army's legal channels. You're protected under the Service Members Civil Relief Act. You push this right, you'll not only get your place back, you'll blow up their whole scheme. That night at my sister Emma's place in Mineral Wells, we ate chili and cursed the day my father died. They sold Daddy's land, she said, slamming her spoon. Not while I'm breathing. I'll get it back and make sure they never do it again. She grinned, fire in her eyes. And when you're done, I want to see that witch Brenner carrying her own boxes out of that office. Spent the next day at the Army JAG office, military lawyers sharp as tacks. Captain Renee Whitfield flipped through my papers. You kept good records, she said. You're covered. But HOAs count on folks being too tired or far away to fight. Not this time. We'll make this a case. Didn't sleep much that night. The woman at my door haunted me. She wasn't the enemy, she was a pawn. But the enemy was real, and her name was Sylvia. The next morning, Louise called, voice tense. We've had 3 more complaints since you came home. Same story. Families railroaded out over made-up dues and violations. Names. Franklin Ortega Holbrooks lost everything. Met Franklin at the diner. He looked beat grease under his nails. They said I owed $10,000 in dues. Never missed a payment in 20 years. Suddenly fees, penalties, and then a foreclosure notice. Sold my place to some couple from Dallas. Paid cash. Whole thing was too neat. Then the Holbrooks retired teachers worn down. They said our lawn was out of code, Mrs. Holbrook said. Charged us for repairs we never asked for. Judge sided with the HOA. We thought we'd done something wrong. Their eyes were hollow, but when I said, it's not you, it's them. And we're going to make it right, I saw a spark. Hope. Sitting in my truck that night, I realized this was bigger than one ranch. Sylvia had built a machine that chewed up families and spit them out, but now she'd picked the wrong target. The Army had my back. Meanwhile, across town, Sylvia called an emergency HOA meeting. Curtis Doyle, her numbers man, looked ready to bolt. Shouldn't we just call it a mistake? Return his property. Sylvia glared. If we reverse one, we lose them all. You want to face a dozen lawsuits? Tighten ranks. Point to the paperwork. Nobody talks. But cracks were forming. The Army was involved. Captain Whitfield filed motions, froze all foreclosures pending investigation. Louise's phone blew up 6 new victims, all scared. Some got their trucks vandalized after speaking out. Back at the diner, I met with Franklin and 2 others. People need to see someone stand up, Franklin said. You do now. The Army's here. You'll be protected. But if we don't speak up together, they'll keep winning. That night, staring at my ranch from the road porch light burning, I realized even the new family living there were victims caught in Sylvia's web. Then came the warning. A man in a ball cap voice low, back off, soldier. People are nervous. Nervous people do desperate things. I wasn't backing down. Emma saw it in my eyes. They picked the wrong guy. Court day came, courthouse packed news vans outside. Captain Whitfield laid it out. This isn't one house, Your Honor. This is abuse of power. Staff Sergeant Ralston was deployed protected by law. We have evidence this happened to other families, too. Sylvia's lawyer fired back, cool as ice. Mr. Ralston failed as a homeowner. The HOA followed procedure. But when Franklin, Patrice, Nolan, the Holbrooks took the stand, told their stories, the judge's face hardened. Then my turn. I was in Kuwait. I paid every bill. My home was stolen not because I failed, but because someone thought my absence made me an easy target. After cross, the judge slammed down an injunction, suspended all HOA foreclosures tied to Sylvia's board. Not victory yet, but the fortress was cracking. Outside reporters swarmed. This fight isn't just mine, I said. It's for every family who's been pushed around by people who thought they were too small to matter. Sylvia had friends in high places, money, influence. She started a smear campaign blog post about my mental state, old rumors dredged up painting me as unstable. At first I ignored it. Then people started asking if I was okay after overseas. That's when I realized her real weapon wasn't just paperwork, it was reputation. I wanted to fight fire with fire, but Louise and Captain Whitfield said, "Don't take the bait, stay calm, let the truth do the talking." I held tight. Then the break discovery landed in our lap. Captain Whitfield slid a folder across the table. Fake fees invented penalties on accounts that were already paid. Over and over, it's fraud, she said. And if we show a pattern, it's a federal case. Curtis Doyle, the HOA board member, flipped. Gave us a thumb drive, emails, memos, everything. We targeted people we thought wouldn't fight back, deployed soldiers, old folks, families behind on bills. Now it was open war. Federal investigators rolled in. Subpoenas, interviews, bank records, all laid bare. The DOJ circled, looking not just at civil violations, but criminal charges, fraud, conspiracy, maybe even racketeering. Final day in court, the benches packed. The judge reviewed the evidence, testimony, emails. The foreclosures carried out under Mrs. Brenner's direction were fraudulent, predatory, and illegal. All sales or nullified titles, restored charges, referred to federal prosecutors. The room exploded. Cheers, tears, veterans saluting, families embracing. Emma gripped my arm. "You did it." "No," I said. "We did." Sylvia was led out, stone-faced, powerless, for the first time in years. The story went national. HOAs across the country faced new scrutiny. I spent the next weeks working the land, clearing brush, mending fences. Strangers came by to shake my hand, tell their stories. Emma said, "You're more than a soldier now. You're a voice for people who never had one." I never wanted that. I just wanted to come home. But sometimes coming home means fighting for more than just yourself. That's what my dad would have wanted. And as the sun set, fireflies blinking over the pasture, I realized one voice backed by truth can bring a whole empire down. If you're watching this and you've ever faced something like it, drop your story below. Who do you think is right when justice and power collide? What would you have done in my boots? Don't forget to subscribe, because every story's got a lesson, and together we can make sure they don't get forgotten.